Hello, in this video we're going to talk about count controlled loop, the for loop. So we start with the for syntax. So we're going to see how this works. Okay, so look at this code. I'm going to show you how it works in the Python tutor to visualize the code. So we have main, we have a for loop. This is a loop, it's a for loop, for I in, notice square bracket, right? So let's write code similar to this. So let's edit this code and I'm going to change it to look like the other code for I in and square bracket. I'm going to put some numbers in here, any numbers, just random numbers, okay? And then we're going to visualize it. So I have four numbers in there for a num in something. It's a list of numbers, print num. So if I say next, watch what's going to happen. Num. For num, what is num? Num is the first number in the list, 23. Then here we are, we're going to print num. So what are we going to print? Up here, 23. So next, it's going to print 23. It's going to go back because it has to go through the whole list. We have only done 23. So next, num becomes 45. Watch here. Num is going to change to 45. Then we are going to print num. What are we going to print up there? 45. Next, num in the list. 45 is done. Num is going to become 8. Then we print 8. Then we go next, 45 again. Num equals 45. Print num. My list is done, so it's going to come out of the for loop. So this is one type of a for loop where I have a list of things. What else can I do with this list? I can have a list of other things, not just numbers. I can have a list of fruits, pear, mango, apple, like that, apple, kiwi, how about banana, okay. And I will print, I don't want to print num, there's no more num for fruit in a list of fruits. Fruit is the variable, so I want to print fruit. Let's try that and see how it looks. For fruit in a list of fruits, every time I go through the loop, fruit is going to become the first one, then the second one, then the third one. So next, for fruit in, fruit is pear. Next, print fruit, print pear. For fruit, fruit becomes mango, print mango. Then fruit becomes apple, print apple. You get the idea. I'm going to edit this code one more time and show you other things. What else can I do? I can come here and say print, I love this fruit, named, I'll say something like that. So you're not just printing fruit, you can say other things with it. So let's take a look at it. Start over. So fruit is pear. So it's going to print I love this fruit named and then the name of the fruit. I love this fruit named pear. I love this fruit named mango. I love this fruit named apple, and so on and so forth. Get the idea? Okay. Next, let's go on to do a few other things. So that's what this is talking about. A list of things with a square brackets and separated by comma. If it's numbers, no double quotes. If it's text, double quotes. List of names, list of fruits, they all need double quotes. List of numbers, don't need double quotes. Okay. What if, let's go on. What is the difference between these two? What if we have a range? There's something else called the range function. Okay, let's take a look at the range function and see what that does. So this is done. I'm going to change this code to say for num in range of 5, print num. So let's see what that does. What does the range function do for us? Watch num carefully. Num is going to come up here. Num is 0 initially. The first time, num is 0. Print 0. Next, num becomes 1. Print 1. Num becomes 2. print 2. Where is all that coming from? Num becomes 3. Print 3. How far is it going to go, you think? Do you have an idea now? It's a count-controlled loop. It counts until 5, not including 5. 3 will print, 4 will print, 5 will not print. So 0 to 4, when I say for num in range of a number, it prints until that number. So how about we edit that and say, what if I say 7 for num in range? And notice this is parenthesis, not square bracket. So if I do that, what is it going to do? It's going to print, what do you think? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get the idea? It's going to keep going till 6. Is it going to print 7? No. It's not going to print that number. It stops 1 before that number. Okay, one more. Let's edit it a few more times. Notice it always started at 0. What if I wanted to start at 1? Can I give it a starting number? Sure. You can tell it where to start. That says I want to start at 1 instead of 0. So notice num is 1, not 0 anymore. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, is it going to stop at 6 or 7? 6 still stops at 6. Does not include 7. Never includes that number. So now we went from 1 to 6. Okay? Okay, let's try one more thing. What if I wanted to go 1, 3, 5, 7? What if I wanted to increment by 2 instead of 1? By default, it increments by 1. This will increment by 2. So first time is 1. Next, watch. It's going to print 1. Then it's going to become 3 because I said add 2 to it. It's going to add 2 every time. 1, 3, 5. What's next after 5? 7. But it won't print 7, so it's not going to do that. It's going to come out. Okay? Okay, a few more things. Can I do other things than 2? Sure, I can put 3, 4, whatever I want in there. So if I put 4, it's going to start at 1. Let's see what it does. Start at 1, print 1. 1 plus 4 is 5, print 5. 5 plus 4 is 9, way greater than 7, so we're going to come out of there. So it's used as a counter. What else can I do in this loop? Okay, so count, control, loop. That's what that is. Try different things with the range. Notice that you can put in 1, 11, and 2. That means it starts at 1, adds 2 every time. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, no 11. Stops at 9. What about this if we go backwards? What if I put that in my range? So you go here and you say, well, I want to start backward from 10. I want to stop before 3. I decrement by 1. So take a guess. Where is it going to start printing? 10. What's the next thing it's going to print? Minus 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. So it will go from 10, 10, 9, 8, 7. You know where it's going to stop? 6, 5, 4. It's not going to go to 3 because it never goes to that number, right? So those are all the ways you use your for. It's a count control loop. Now, what can I do in this count control loop? You can do lots of things in the count control loop. Let's say I want to do something 5 times. 1, 5. That will do only 4 times. So if I want to do it 5 times, I have to do 1, 6. What if I want to print the square of a number? Num is 1. Num times 1 will print. Num times num will print 1. That's num square. Num becomes 2. 2 times 2 is going to print 4. So this is going to print the square of each number. So watch. First time num is 1, we print 1. Then num is 2, we print 4. 2 times 2, 2 times 2. Then we print 3 times 3. Then we print 4 times 4. Then we print 5 times 5. It's not going to go to 6, so we're going to stop there. So we can do lots of things inside a count control loop. So this goes backwards, something you can take a look at. Let's see. Use a for loop. Let's try this. Use a for loop. I will write this for you and you can try this on your own. I will try to find the max and you can do it on your own to find the min. Use a for loop to prompt the user for 5 integers. Print the maximum and minimum integers entered. Let's plan it out. So how do you do this? Let's plan it out. Use a for loop to prompt the user for 5 integers. So we're going to use a for loop. How many times? 5 times. In the for loop, what do? I read a number. Print the maximum and minimum of the numbers. How do I find that? So if they enter 6 first, then I know I don't have anything else. That is the maximum. So I store it. Then I read the next number and I compare that with that number. If that number is more than 6, then the new maximum is that number, right? So you keep on comparing. And at the end, you should be left with the largest number. So let's try to write that. Here is my sample loops. Let's change this to a for loop. Num equals 5. I want to read 5 times from the user. Okay, that's my loop number. Or let's say count equals 5. That's my loop counter. Count equals 5. Num, user num. This is the number that user is going to enter. Let's start that with 0. Okay. Okay, for, let's say, I in count, I in range of count. Okay, if I wanted to go 5 times, then if I start from 0 and if I go to count, I will go 5 times. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 is 5 times, right? That will do it 5 times. For I in range of count, which is 5 times. What do I want to do in there? I want to read a number from the user. User num equals int input, enter a number, because that's what we said. We wanted to read a number from the user. So read, and then we're going to find the maximum. So let's have a variable called max. Okay. Okay. So you are going to find the maximum. Maximum is at 0. User num, you read the num, and then you say if user num, the number that they enter, is greater than max, then max becomes user num. Every time you go through it and you read a number from the user, if the number that they enter is more than max, then you make that max, then make that number equal to max. That's what you're doing. That number that they enter is going to become maximum. If you keep doing that every time, when you come out, you will have the largest number in max. Let's say the max number is, makes more sense, max. Take all this stuff out. There we go. Shall we try that? Okay, it's going to ask me 5 times. 56, 34, 12, 345, 2. This is max number is 345, right? So 56, we read one number at a time. If that number, 56, is greater than max, max is 0. So the number that they enter is going to be greater than max. So max becomes 56. Then they enter 34. 34 greater than max. Max is 56 now. Is 34 greater than max? No. So if you take this, for example, let's take this whole code. It's good to visualize this code to see what's happening. Take the whole thing, put it in here, edit this code, and visualize it to see what it's doing. Get rid of this stuff and say visualize execution. Okay, let's start the code. See what happens. There is main, calls main. Watch what's happening here. Count is 5. There's count. User num is 0. There's max. For I in range, I is 0 first. Remember, we just talked about the for loop. Okay, it says enter user input. Let's put in 33. Submit. Okay, so user input now is 33. That's the number I entered. So user num is 33. If user num greater than max, user num is 33, max is 0. So 33 is greater than 0. What's going to happen? Watch. Max becomes 33. We go back to the loop. I is now 1. It's going to ask us for the next number. So 56. Submit. So user number becomes 56. So then you keep going. Yes, 56 is greater than 33. So max becomes 56. 56. Go back, ask for the next number. Let's enter 1. 1. Next, 1 is not greater than max, so it goes back. It doesn't do anything. Ask for the next number. Let's enter 4. 4 is not greater than 56. Notice, username is 4, max is 56. 4 is not greater than that, so we're going to go back. One more number, how about 123? Submit. So now username is 123, max is only 56. 123 is greater than 56, so it's going to set max to be 123. There you go. And we're done with the for loop. It prints the maximum number is 123, and it is done. Okay, so try doing the same thing with minimum before you come to class, and we will work on this in class.